Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you again. Good
Yep.
evening.
Good evening. I was just setting things up.
Great.
So what's the difference between the two sessions, like the last time and this time? What would be different?
Yeah, so we're going to focus on restorative postures today. So it'll be, depending on, we should try to get started sooner, just like, I don't know who's coming or if anybody's coming, but we might be able to do maybe 4 postures. And they will be, I've got some stuff set up here, you can't see it, but do you have a yoga practice? I mean, you are
Uh,
from the motherland. Yes.
yeah, I really like yoga
Yeah.
and
So
meditation. Like I try to be
yes,
regular with it.
you do. Yeah. It's a practice, isn't it? It's like showing up for it over and over. It's funny. I have practiced for a long time, but when I started teaching, I practiced less, and
Uh-huh.
I miss it. I miss the like relationship to just being able to like practice and let that be my relationship to yoga, you know? But yeah, we're going to use like props. Sorry, props, props. um, and have you done much in restorative yoga practice?
Um, I I don't know exactly what restorative yoga practices are, but like what I can tell you what I do.
Mhm.
I begin with I try to begin with Surya Namaskars. So I do at least like 5 to 10, depending on how I'm feeling that
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
And then I am part of this group called the Art of Living, and they have taught me a whole meditation ritual kind of a thing, which I try to do. It takes like 40 minutes, and before I do that, there are some breathing exercises that I do, and then I do that meditation, and yeah. So it takes like
Wow.
2 hours or something when I am really doing it properly.
That's amazing. It sounds gorgeous. You said the Art of Living is the
Yeah,
group that you do the meditation work with.
yeah. It's in
Oh,
US too. They are in like 50 countries.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful name. I wonder, it feels familiar, but I don't know if I've
Uh-huh.
actually, how did you get involved with them?
My cousin got me like introduced me to them. She did their one course. It was Sudarshan Kriya, it says, and it's kind of like restoring your whole body. Any kind of illness you have, it will get treated away, and that's what they have said. And people
Wow.
even said their cancer went away when they kept doing it like for months, and I felt better. Like I got COVID, and it really affected me. Like 50% of my lungs were affected by COVID, and it really helped
Oh,
me recover. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I mean, every country has seemed to get like their big COVID wave. India definitely
Yeah.
seems to have got bad for a bit there. Is it
The
feeling more
second wave.
stable now?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's just one state that is really suffering. It's in the south, but yeah, second
Mm.
wave hit us so bad.
Yeah, it was awful to witness that. I mean, in the States, it's been just like
Yeah. True.
circus. And ours, I don't know if it's the same issue in India. For us, it's like so politically motivated, like the resistance to vaccination and basic protocols. Uh, I was just
Luckily, we
reading,
don't have so many anti-vaxxers here. Like people are getting vaccinated, so thank goodness for that.
yeah, I was just reading an article today that was talking about how it was an op-ed piece, but it was talking about how shifting towards believing that we have to live with COVID versus that we can eradicate it is essential to us putting in place things that will make it livable. You
Yeah.
know, I think, which was a hard thing to read, but it seems like that's what all signs are pointing to, is that it's going to be around. So we have to figure out how to work with it, you know, and things like vaccinations are critical to that, you know.
Like just this small thing today that made me realize that COVID is gonna stick. So in our living room, like just at the entry, when people enter, it used to be just a counter with a mirror and a lamp, but now we have a whole tray set up over there with sanitizer and like cleaning stuff and everything, and a basket for mask, like clean mask
Yeah.
that we can dump in there. So when we are moving, like going out, so I was trying to find like a really decorative bowl to keep the mask in. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend money on that now. The mask
Yeah.
is gonna stay.
Yeah. I know. Remember when it felt like maybe this was going to end? I don't
Oh,
know if it felt like that at some point,
yeah,
but
it did.
I remember hoping at least for that. So it's like a rejiggering of the brain, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I really cannot wait for it to be over.
I know. I miss the innocence and the freedom that
Yeah.
of just not having to think about it. But honestly, it was just a matter of time, you know, and there'll be more things like it. So it's yeah, it's such a different way of living, isn't it? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you get used to anything, you know, like watching kids, like my friends have 2 young children, and it's no big deal, you know, that's the world that they've like started out in. And they're like, yeah, we wear masks, like we wear pants, you know?
Sure, sure. It really is like, oh, for one whole year we had no one come over. We were just maintaining our distance, and then we relaxed a bit after seeing that okay, things are a bit normal now, and our relatives were calling us that hey, can we visit? And when they came over, it was like, should we hug or no? Like,
I know.
yeah.
I still find that awkwardness with some people, like still doing like elbow bumps. I mean, you think about like historically when there's been like, you know, flus that have traveled the world or whatever, and you think about all these things that probably were put in place to mitigate that, you know, like then. And yeah, like even handshakes are like an opportunity to spread. Um,
Exactly.
uh, yeah.
But it's sad. Like next week, I'm gonna meet a friend of mine. We are meeting after 8 years, and
8.
8 years exactly. And he was like, "So do we hug or not?" But I know I'm vaccinated. Are you? I'm like, I am. So
Well,
we're like making a discussion about it.
well, yeah, I know. Like we've had my friend group has had a couple gatherings, like bigger gatherings, and we've just had to get like tests. We all like get
Yeah,
tests before we
the rapid
come.
test.
Um, and the assumption is, I mean, everybody's vaccinated. There's one person that like won't get vaccinated, and he was told to leave. Like he showed up and he'd just been at like a festival, no less, unmasked, not vaxxed, and then coming into this like bubble that I mean, you know, it's not exactly a bubble. Everybody's got some exposure, but
Yeah.
yeah, it really has prompted some uncomfortable conversations. And
Yeah.
my husband and I were very, very stringent, like on the rules during like the heart of things last year, and would hang out with people, but only outside for the most part, even in the winter. Like we just figured to bundle up. But we missed out on stuff because some people are just so sick of it, you know, and they were hanging out indoors
Yeah.
without masks, and it just felt so scary.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if you've had any long-term symptoms, but long COVID scares me more than COVID
I
does.
did. I was even hospitalized. Like it was really bad for me.
Oh my
And
goodness.
even yet I cannot run or jog or anything. I like cardio is totally restrictive for me. That's why I'm like really getting into yoga again. I need to do something. I gained weight, like I lost a lot, then I gained rapidly. So
Okay.
it's been a trouble.
Wow.
But it's
Oh,
like I'm getting better. I feel like it's better for me now.
what have the doctors said about your lung capacity?
They said if I keep doing the breathing exercises, I'm gonna recover well. So
Okay.
they're not going to be any long-term effects for me, just maybe a year or two at max. That's what he said. I'm gonna make a good recovery. So
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful to hear. I'm sorry that you've gone through that. That must have been really scary.
oh yeah, it really my parents tricked me into going into the hospital.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go.
Oh no, because we all were sick. Like the whole family got it together, and I had been sick for already 15 days. Then it started getting really bad. I developed pneumonia. My parents took me to get a CAT scan, and that's when they knew that okay, it's getting bad. And then I just couldn't breathe, and my heart started acting up. Like my resting heart rate was 140. I couldn't sleep
Yeah,
or
that's like,
oh, we have some.
what was that, Ali?
Hello,
Was that
Allison Miller.
Hello.
Hey,
Ali?
welcome.
Is that my Ali?
Yeah. Just got
Oh, hi.
weird view. I was able to get on quickly.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know. Did anybody else sign up for this, Sukrita?
I saw four people. Like it said, four people had signed up, but
Okay. Yeah, Ali, they've been, this is Sukriti,
hi.
and a bunch of people signed up for the first one too, and then like one person ended up coming. So it might be it might just be us, but I think we should just get started. And then if anybody else joins, then cool. And if not, then it's just a little intimate group.
Awesome.
I'll stop sharing and I'll make you co-host with me, so you can.
Okay, great. And Sukriti, are you going to be practicing with us, or are you just here to host?
No, I'm gonna practice, but I'm gonna have my camera off because I cannot
Okay,
have it set up that way. Small
sure.
space.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Ali, it's so nice to see you.
So good to see you.
I'm gonna actually make you big on my screen. Place pin. Okay, so do you both have some blankets or towels or bits and pieces that we can work with, some pillows even?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I always keep a yoga mat in my room and
Oh, you
cushions.
do?
I also have that exercise ball thingy.
Oh yeah. So today we're gonna see if we can get through maybe 3 or 4 restorative postures. So this is I was telling Sukriti, and Ali may know this, but restorative yoga, I love this definition or explanation. It's the art of not doing. So we're gonna like prop ourselves up in 3 to 4 postures, so not many. We might even get through less. And it's less about a deep, intense stretch, which is why we'll be using props. And it's more about letting the body be fully supported so we can start to settle and rest, which allows the nervous system to start to reset. So it's more about the nervous system than anything else. Not to say you won't have a feeling of stretch somewhere in your body. Okay, so what I'd like for you to have are, if you can, 2 long rolled things. So this is a blanket. I'll just show you that really quickly. So I won't unfold it the whole way, but what you want is something long enough that it could support your whole spine and head. Yes, so it's long and skinny. And I did that with just a regular old bath towel as well. So I just folded that in half and then rolled it up short end to short end, and that made a pretty nice shape as well. So if you have 2 towels or a towel and a blanket, set those up. And then I also, this is bonus, but it might be nice for you to have, if you have a hand towel or just something like even a shirt that you could roll up pretty evenly. And this will be a little similar bolster, but for your neck. Yeah. And then pillows about the same size if you have that. All of this is optional. You could do this without it and it'll still be beneficial. So we're going to start by taking one of those long rolls and you're going to put it on your mat, what will be behind you, and you're going to sit down in front of it. So you'll have your butt on the floor. And that long roll behind you. And I'm going to put in pillows here as well. So this is, if you have a practice, this is Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining bound angle pose, but we're doing this with all the propping. So once you have your long roll behind you and you're seated in front of it, you can also grab your little guy, your little one if you have it. You're going to lay down and you're going to lay the whole length of your spine onto that roll. And if your torso is a bit longer and your head is hitting the ground, you could add something else to support the head. So you want your head supported, the entirety of your spine supported. And then you'll slide, if you want, the pillows underneath your knees, bring the soles of your feet together, and then your legs will open into pillows or into space, or maybe they'll touch the floor. And then if you wanted to add a little extra support, you could take a small rolled up towel or whatever you've got and place that right underneath your neck and work out the size that makes the most sense for you so that it feels like it's in the perfect shape of the curve of your own neck. And what you're searching for is a sense of like, oh yeah, I could live here. So make adjustments until you feel really supported and comfortable. You can always wedge the pillows in a little closer to your hips. And then with the hands, you might rest them on your belly, beneath navel, above pubic bone. You could also cactus or T your arms out to the left and right, which will give you a bit more of a sense of opening across your chest. And you can also change your mind or change position as you are here. So we'll be here for about 5 minutes or so. I'll keep track of the time. So you can just settle on in. Let your breathing be easeful. You might let your eyes close or allow the gaze to soften. Notice if you can soften through your face and jaw. And with every easeful exhale, you might notice that there's a little bit more room to let your bones settle in, let your muscles relax. Can often feel infinite. When we feel like we're totally supported and relaxed, there might be just a little bit more space to melt into the support. We're a small group, so feel free to ask any questions if you need anything. This might be the first time today or this week where you're slowing down. Sometimes we have to slow down to catch up with ourselves. If you notice your mind chattering, pulling you forward into future, or back into past, or maybe a ping-ponging between, you might draw your gentle attention to your breath or some part of your physical sensation. As an alternative, you could also dial into the ambient sounds in your space. For me, I've got a dog snoring. Where might you let go a little bit more? Where might you soften maybe your thoughts, maybe your jaw, maybe your neck is still trying to hold your head up even though it's resting. If your eyes are closed, blink them a few times and softly refocus your eyes. Before we transition to our next posture, let your head remain resting on the bolster that you've got there, but turn your head to the left. Let the right side of your neck stretch open. And then let your head rotate to the right. The left side of your neck stretch. And then return your gaze to the sky. Take your hands to your outer legs and gently help them together. Your feet will come to the floor. You could roll off to one side, or you could sit directly up. If you're going to sit up, roll up chin to chest. You could grab onto the backs of your thighs. Oh, good. And we're just going to make a small change and come right back on down. So the long roll that you've had on your mat behind you, you're going to turn it so that it will now be horizontal across your mat space, still behind you. And then depending on what you've got in your setup, if you have another rolled blanket or towel, bring that in front of you. As an alternative, you could use pillows or something like that. So you're sitting between these two towels or whatever's. If you have something else handy, you might send that towards the back of your space and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're gonna lay back down. Now this roll that you've got behind you, you're gonna lay down so that that is across the mid of your shoulder blades, right beneath your heart space, right in the center of the thoracic spine, if that's a more familiar landmark. And it might feel intense straight away. You can prop your head up with a little towel or pillow if it's too much of a back bend. You could also put a towel underneath your neck as we had it before, and then legs can extend forward with a little soft bend supported by pillows or towel. And if that feels like too much on your low back or somewhere else, you can bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, and then just let your knees softly touch with your knees, or your feet, excuse me, apart. So finding a way that makes that work for you. And sometimes it can take a little bit of adjusting. If you really liked how we had our legs before, you could come back to Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together. So many options. Find what works for you. Arms can be in a T or a cactus out to the left and right, or rest somewhere else. It can be a little goofy figuring out where they live with your thoracic spine supported. But again, you're looking for that moment when you've made all the adjustments and your body is like, yep, I want to be here for a bit. This is a variation of fish pose. Returning to that sense of not doing as you settle in. Where might you still be holding your body up that you might be able to release? Where might you soften a little bit more? If any part of you starts to feel uncomfortable, know that at any time you can adjust. You might need more propping or less propping. Straightening your legs might do the trick, or bending your knees. As the body feels supported, it can drop into a state of rest and digest, safe and social. Noticing if the mind is pulling you towards thoughts, which it does. And as you notice that pulling forward or pulling back or just swirling around haphazardly, what can you anchor in that's present? It's like coming to rest somewhere still, even if it's just for a moment here or there. It's like mind vacation. Coming back to the body or some sense of your space anytime you notice that pulling away. Take a slightly deeper breath in through the nose. And a long, slow exhale through the mouth. You might feel a little breathy, a little sigh-y. We'll do that twice more, inhaling slowly through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Once more, breathing in slow. Long, slow exhale out. And we'll slowly transition out of this pose and into our third and final pose. So you can bend your knees if they're not already, and place your feet on the floor. And rolling off to one side into the fetal position might feel nice. Move slow. The thoracic can get a bit tender if you're a human and spend any time at the desk. Just pressing yourself up. Oh, it's so nice to see you, Allie, and be with you. Okay, so last pose. If you have a chair or a wall, work with those. You can also stay right where you are, but it's going to be legs up. So it's either, I'll do a quickie of this. You're going to find yourself on your back once again, but you'll be in an L. So you could prop up your low back if you're coming to the wall space. And then send your legs up the wall as described, as advertised. And then you can, add props to this underneath your neck. You could add weight to your body. If you wanted to stay right where you are, you can just let your legs float up in the sky. You could also certainly prop your sacrum up and just sort of find a hang space there. And then I'm not going to pull a chair over, but if you did have a chair, you could have your legs bent to about 90 degrees with your calves and feet resting on the seat of the chair and just hang out in that space. Yep. What are you giggling about?
Just finagling getting into this position. It's awesome.
Yeah. I always say, like, you got to get real close, up and close and personal with one of your hips, and then just kind of like cartwheel in without finesse. And when you're doing the restorative version of this, you can have your hips elevated. You could have your butt a little further away from the wall. And as we did with the other two shapes, finding your version where your body is like, yep, I can be here for a while, is what you're seeking. Letting your eyes close again, you could, or soften if that feels good for you. You could also bring something across your eyes here to block out the light. Where can you settle in a little bit more deeply? How does it feel to slow down and rest? Where might you get a little more comfy, cozy? Let's take a slightly deeper breath in through the nose and sigh out of the mouth. You can do that a few times as you maybe wiggle your toes and your fingers. If your legs are up the wall, you can bend at the knees, let your feet start to slide down the wall and then roll off to one side. We'll all meet on one side just for a moment. Outstretch your bottom arm and catch your right cheek or left cheek, whatever side you landed on. And when you feel ready to rise, you can gently start to press yourself up. You might sit against the wall if you're near. You could sit up on a blanket or a towel or anything that you have, and take a moment to tall your spine, reaching the crown of your head up away from your tail. Broaden across the chest and the shoulders, and you might gently reposition the head so that it sits above the shoulder girdle, above the pelvic floor. And breathe into this new form of you. Notice how you feel as you breathe out. Thank you so much for sharing your practices with me today. The light in me bows to the light in you. Thanks for being here, both of you.
Thanks, lady. I'm doing like the dirty dancing crawl.
I know, keep it coming.
Oh, that was awesome. I have to run to a meeting, but I feel super great. Now,
Okay, good.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Allie.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I do have 2 prompts. If you wanted to even just take them with you, if you wanted to do some writing, you can drop them into the chat really quick.
Okay.
Okay. I'll say them out loud as I type them.
Mhm.
When I tap into my truth, what do I desire? And what impact, option 2, on my world do I want to have? Oop, I misspelled that, but you get the gist. Okay.
I love these afterthoughts.
Sorry for the misspelling there. My belief is that when we get into our bodies, and yoga is such a beautiful way to support that, we melt a little bit beneath our like chattery mind and connect to what's really true for us. So like writing after a practice, like from that place, I think can be really meaningful. So report back, let me know.
I will.
All right, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And it was great to meet you. I'll see you on email. Let me know how I can support you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye.
it's my pleasure. Bye.
Good day.
You too.